Teresa. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Thank you very much to NFBR for having me today and letting me wax lyrical about carrion beetles. Some of you may know that I actually really love doing this, so you may have heard some of it before. Apologies in advance, but it's just one of my favourite things to do. They are not appreciated enough. So if you're new to carrion beetles, prepare to have your minds changed. Called it Waking the Dead. That's because this topic really bleeds in from my work that I do at the museum, at National Museum of Scotland, and in my spare time. So whether that's waking up an animal corpse at the side of a road, or waking up the specimens in the collection and extracting their data, and basically bothering the dead quite a lot. Okay, so I like to refer to this group as nature's undertakers. And this actually refers to a whole ecological niche of insects, whether that's blowflies, carrion beetles, clown beetles. There's a whole bunch of insects that are absolutely essential in working together to recycle and repurpose animal remains. And without them, we really would be wading through a whole lot of grot. So I focus on Sylphidae, so that is commonly referred to as being carrion beetles, but within the family, we have got a subset known as burying beetles. We've got 6 species of these in the UK, and these are the iconic ones that you'll probably recognize. They've got these jazzy orange markings on most of them, and they are the species that are going to feed and breed in the carrion, because we have some in the group that are carrion feeders but don't exhibit the fascinating behavior, which is what is really intriguing about them. So these wonderful beetles actually work together, male and female locate a corpse. It might be a small dead mouse, small bird, and they will bury this corpse. And they're doing that to avoid the competition from all the other scavengers, insects and things like foxes and badgers. And they're then going to conceal that underground, make it into a lovely nest where they can raise their offspring. So here is a gorgeous photo of a mother beetle lovingly regurgitating rotting flesh to the larva. It's very sweet. It really is a lovely family dynamic underground where they're nice and safe from predators. There's all sorts of fantastic behaviors that go on in here, which I haven't got too much time to delve into, but I can tell you that it's very much like birds in that the larvae will beg the parents for more food. They can't vocalize, so they will do tactile begging, which is where they rear up and touch the parent beetles on the face. This is then asking the mother or father beetle for more food. They love that rotting flesh. The parents invest a huge amount of care into raising their offspring, and this is because carrion is such an ephemeral resource and highly nutritious. So they will defend it from rival beetles. They also actually create this nest environment. So from the carcass, nobody in the room is eating at the moment, but for those of you online, you might not want to be snacking right now. They mold it into a ball shape. They then remove any fur or feathers, and they have oral and anal secretions, which they coat the carcass in. And get this, it actually slows down the decomposition. And not only that, more recent research has shown that it actually deters other beetles from using that carcass too. So lots of amazing special things happening within the burying beetle group, which is why I love them so much. I just think that more people deserve to know about these beetles and be out recording them. But if death and carcasses isn't your thing, this beetle family, although it's small with just 21 species in the UK, is pretty dynamic, diverse. We've got some predatory species too. So this one here is a common snail hunter, one that you can find very easily under rotting logs and in mossy areas, particularly in the winter. And this has a fabulous behavior where it will literally bite the foot of the snail. It releases pre-digestive enzymes which start to break down that flesh and also get through the protective mucus that the snail emits. And then it's got a really narrow, skinny head, so it can dive right into the shell and feast on the animal within. It's just fabulous. So there's a bit of something for everyone in there, right? So I just love this group, really, really love this group. And I, with a little bit of gentle encouragement from the likes of Martin Harvey and Darren Mann, I was persuaded to set up a recording scheme. Now, fortunately, my colleague Richard Wright, he had ideas to do this previously in 2009, and he produced a fantastic key, but didn't really push the scheme in a broader sense. So myself and Matt Esch relaunched this in 2016, and since then we've really just been doing all we can to promote these beetles, get more people out recording them, and we've been hosting identification workshops too. So if you're really keen, you can get involved with trapping for these beetles. I get it's not everybody's cup of tea, but you can set up pitfall traps. baited pitfall traps, you can have hanging traps. Leaving any rotting meat out will help lure these beetles in. But really, one of my favorite things to do is do a bit of searching on the roadkill and things that I find. So I've just been on some fieldwork in the north of Scotland, and it was brilliant because I found loads of carrion. Obviously not great for the animals themselves, but it was absolutely hooching with carrion beetles. Obviously, number one thing to say is always use gloves if you are going to be interfering with dead bodies in any way. So then once we've got these beetles, obviously you want to photograph them and try and identify what we've got. So we've got these free keys available through the UK Beetle Recording website. And that was a fantastic free resource that anybody can access. But there was an opportunity that arose with Steve Lane and Colin Lucas last year to produce a new atlas for this group. So actually, we do have some new keys that have gone into this piece of work. It's a phenomenally exciting project that I never anticipated in being involved in. So very, very, very big thanks to the Field Studies Council who published this piece in conjunction with the Centre for Ecology and Hydrology and Biological Records Centre, and to all the people that were involved in helping us along the way. So to Martin, to Helen Roy, Bjorn Beckman, everybody that had to look through the many, many revisions of this piece. It was a great lockdown project, and it's been fantastic that we actually sold out the first print run. So this has sold over 500 copies. There are 500 people that like carrion beetles. And I should say that it's a partner project. So this was an opportunity for Steve and I to work together. So he is the recording scheme organizer for Hysterity in the UK. He is phenomenal when it comes to this group. And the two groups are both associated with carrion. So it was this nice natural pairing where we could kind of use this sexy carrion beetles to maybe entice people to record the clown beetles too. So there are some new keys in this book which are phenomenal and are proving to be a really good identification resource for people. We did jazz up the sulfide keys too, just a little bit of tweaking, but this is just an example page here so you can see what it looks like. Obviously it's an atlas, so it's full of lots of dots on maps. And the best thing about it is it's completely outdated already. So we knew as soon as we published this that it was going to spur people on and go square bashing and go and prove that they've got these certain species in their area. And that's exactly what we wanted it to do. So the distribution maps might already be a little bit out of date, but of course the new records coming in feed into the schemes, which then go through iRecord and onto NBN. So what we really want is those online maps to be as up to date and accurate as possible. So it's already achieving that. You can see for each species account, we've got a bit of information on the ecology, distribution, a bit about behavior sometimes, but also importantly, we've got information on conservation status, which is something that's completely new because just before this was published, Steve had done a full conservation assessment on the family. So that's really new and exciting. Oh, I should say we've also got phenology charts, which we didn't have accurate ones of before. So it's really help you narrow down the best time to go looking for these particular species. So in terms of the scheme data, you can see from this coverage map that it looks quite good, right? It's like, oh, Scotland, not bad. But obviously that's not taking into account the numbers in any way. So if we look here at the records per hectare, you can actually see that still Scotland is not very well covered. So I need to do a better job up north of promoting carrion beetles. But this is quite common for most insect groups, isn't it? If we look at the records as a whole, you'll see from the previous slide, it was 31,000 records that went into producing the atlas. And the split, you can see that pre-1990, there's only about 8,000 records there. I will say that we have gone and extracted museum records. I'm going to touch on that a little bit more shortly. But this boom in increase of records, we do associate with the recording effort through light traps. So obviously, a lot of these beetles will come to light, and post 1990, the popularization of light trapping would definitely affected the records here. So museum collections. Now, obviously, I'm a curator at a museum, and I knew that when I set up the scheme, because there was no existing scheme before that had already done the groundwork and the hard slog of going extracting historic data, I needed to do some of that. So it's been a slow process since 2016, slowly going around visiting other museum collections and harvesting that information. So I've been to Liverpool, I've been to Leeds, I've been to Bristol, Cambridge, and spent many hours poring over other museums' wonderful Silphid collections, which is just great fun really for me. I've also extracted the data from National Museum of Scotland, of course, and it's been lovely to just spend some time with collections and my favourite beetles, and really I feel very privileged. I quite like this specimen. I've put a photograph in here from the NHM of a wrinkled death lover, which has been taken apart, and it would be quite a nice job to put it back together. But I wanted to point out this species that not many people know about this, has a wonderful iridescent blue on the underside of the wing cases, and this is something that nobody understands why. So despite this being a very small family, there are still lots of questions to be answered, whether that's about the larvae or these strange morphological features on the adults. So museum collections, we've still got a few more collections to visit before that work is done. One of the best collections here at Oxford is that of David Nash, for the Silphids, of course. And he was the last person to record this particular carrion beetle. So this we've renamed as the Great Ridgewood carrion beetle because it's only known from this location. It was last seen in 1985. It is potentially still there, but it also might not be. So what we really need to do is put in a little bit more groundwork to do some surveying to suss out whether it is. It's a private site, so we obtained special permissions from the landowners to go and trap for it a couple of years ago, but we weren't successful. Found lots of other good things, but not this particular beetle. So we really want to try and increase the effort there and go back and see if it's still around, and I really, really hope that it is. So obviously my main aim of setting up the recording scheme was I love these beetles and I don't want to see them declining. There are certain legislative practices in the UK that mean that we can't just leave carrion out in most places, but it is a really important resource. So the more that we know about the distributions and potential declines of these species, the more we can do to try and help conserve them. So during lockdown, obviously we weren't able to go and do those physical workshops, which really sucks because they're great fun. We get to put out loads of dead stuff, glove everybody up and get stuck in searching for carrion beetles. And honestly, the trapping is the best bit. Some of you are looking at me like, I'm not sure, Ashleigh, not very convinced about that, but honestly, it's really great fun, despite some of our attendees having to wear a mask, but we're all used to that now. So we have hosted some virtual workshops, so many thanks to the FSC, to Bug Life, museum as well, because we've been able to reach a much broader audience and actually hook lots of new people in to start paying attention to these beetles. I've also done a lot of promotion as well. So we've been using for Twitter for a few years now. So we've done things like Silphidy Sunday. Yeah, it's pretty niche. And I'm an avid user of social media too, through my own accounts. I'm always promoting these beetles. More recently, taken on Instagram and started to do videos as well, which is a whole other thing of appealing to a different audience. So hopefully these records will just keep growing. I've done a few podcasts as well, so if anybody's interested in hearing me talk about carrion beetles at length, there are a couple of podcasts here, the UK Wildlife Podcast, Into the Wild, and Grubbing in the Filth, which is a podcast specifically for invertebrates. And if anyone in the room is keen to talk to Tom, I think he would absolutely love to hear from some of you as well. Go and listen to this podcast. I mentioned that some of the species are attracted to light. Well, here are the 8 beautiful individuals that are. Moth trapping is incredibly popular, so we knew initially from the outset that it would be a great idea to try and reach out to the moth trapping community. Now, Butterfly Conservation have allowed us, some of the local branches, to do things in their newsletters, and thank you as well to NFBR who have allowed us to feature in your newsletter as well. So all these little things help, but really we wanted to reach a wider audience. So Butterfly Conservation allowed us to publish in their Butterfly magazine, which was brilliant, got a double-page spread. What about that? And we've linked in here with the amazing Moth Trap Intruders Facebook group, which also has an iRecord activity, which some of you might be using already. This is a really great resource. If you get anything weird in your moth trap and you're not sure what it is, get onto that group. There's loads of people out there that are going to be willing to help you identify what you've got, and more importantly, channel you to put those records in, get them in the system. So this has been a fantastic opportunity, and we definitely have seen a boom in the number of records coming in. That means a lot more verification, and I'm sorry, I've got quite a backlog at the moment. I will get there. So I've whizzed through this a little bit. I just want to emphasize that there is a huge number of people that have supported us with the scheme. So great many thanks to Martin Harvey, to Helen Roy, Max, Sally Ann, many people, my friend Ed, who actually made our logo, my brilliant co-authors, Steve Lane and Colin Lucas, and all the wonderful, incredible photographers who allow us to consistently use their photos, whether that's in talks or in the book. And thank you to all the recorders, because the atlas just wouldn't exist without all those records. So really that piece of work, it's for everybody. I need to point out that there are no plans to change the brand of the recording scheme. Those of you that aren't familiar, there is a paper that came out recently, I'm saying this through gritted teeth. Kai et al. Published this huge taxonomic work, which has actually sunk the sylphidae saccharinidae. So this means that technically I work on rove beetles now. The rove beetle community have been very welcoming, and joking about this non-stop. So I just need to put it out there. We have no plans to change the name or anything yet. I still work on carrion beetles forever. So thank you very much. If anybody wants more information, wants any links or anything, please come chat to me or drop me an email or a message through social media. Thank you very much.
So we're running slightly late, so I think just one question I'm going to limit us to. If there is anybody who has a burning question, there's one in the room here. So sorry online people, but we'll try and, if anyone has questions in the chat, I'm sure we'll pass them on to Ashleigh and she can get back to you.
You would see an awful lot of mammals carrying across the country. Do you also upload those sightings, like splatter reports?
So in case the question didn't come across, it was about the bycatch, basically,
That is,
of mammals, whether you record those.
That's such a good question and a really good prompt. Thank you. I don't at the moment, but I have all that data that I can retrospectively do it. So yes, I will. Another thing for the list.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you.